Share. No. I don't think she made that. Okay. Let's recap what we did last week and move forward. Last week we said from this package here, the nice cover. Last week we brought the gemara that says food that is eaten raw, fruit and vegetables that are eaten raw, if you cook it and sort of ruin the quality of it, it becomes a she'akol. And vegetables that are eaten raw, vegetables that are not eaten raw, they're eaten cooked. They're hadana when they're cooked, but if you take a bite raw, it'll be a she'akol. And then we said, it's a mahloket. And then we said a story of those two students. Remember the two students? The two students sitting in front of the rabbi, and they had pargiot, and they had broccoli, and they had one more thing. I don't remember what it was.
Was it carrots?
It wasn't carrots. It was spinach, I think it was.
Oh, spinach. Yeah, it was
spinach, pargiot, and one more thing.
You said it.
And it wasn't broccoli. It was spinach. It was cabbage.
Oh,
Cabbage. Thank you. Cabbage, spinach, and pargiot. And the guy took the pargiot first. And then the student laughed at him. The other student laughed at him. It's like he was making a bad decision. And he said, I'm mad at you and I'm mad at you. Gemara wanted to say, maybe this is the mahloket. One person holds that the blessing on cooked cabbage becomes she'akol because it's cooked. And so it's all she'akol. So I'll choose the one I want. And the other one holds, no. The other student tells, it doesn't matter if you cook the cabbage. It's still ha'adama. And so therefore, you should have done the ha'adama before the pargiot was she'akol. Okay. So now, the Gemara, if the halacha is that cooked vegetables is she'akol, why would he choose the pargiyot first? Because it's habib. That's what the Gemara says. Habib is kodem. Something that you want, a food that is habib goes before a food that's not habib. So while we're doing that, so I printed out a little new packet. It's not much. You don't have to follow inside if you don't want, but I want to show you. The Gemara Berachot, page 40b, is the Mishnah. And on the Mishnah, it says in big black bold, Matnitin, that's the Mishnah, in the middle of the page. And then on the second line of the Mishnah, at the end of the line, it says Hayu lefanav. Hayu lefanav minin hadbeh. This is what the Mishnah says. If there's lots of different foods in front of you on the table, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Im yesh benehen min shiv'ah, alav hu mevarech. If one of the 7 fruits of Israel is there, that has to go first. The Hachamim Omrim, and the rabbis say, mevarech al eze mehen sheyitzeh. You make a blessing on any food that you want. This is the Mishnah. So it seems like the rabbis hold, I don't care if it's a food from Israel, it doesn't go first. Whatever you want, you go first. So everyone got the Mishnah? Mahloket Rabbi Yehuda and the rabbi. Rabbi Yehuda says the 7 fruits have to go first if you have minin hadbeh. This is on page 40b in the Berachot Mishnah. And the rabbi said, Mebarech al eze mehen sheyitzeh. Bless on whatever food you want. If we turn the page now to 41, the next one, the Gemara on 41a, Mem Aleph Amud Aleph, on the 5th line at the top of the Gemara says, Hayu lefanav minin hadbeh. It's quoting the Mishnah. Amar Ula. Ula says, Mahloket, this whole mahloket between Rabbi Yehuda and the rabbis. Rabbi Yehuda says, you have to go by the 7 fruits. And the rabbi says, don't worry about the first fruits, 7 fruits. Whatever you want, you take. This mahloket is only shebechotehen shavot. When the fruits in front of you, all the food in front of you has the same blessing. If all the food in front of you has the same blessing, then Rabbi Yehuda says, take the Israel fruit. And the Hachamim say, take the fruit that you want. Look at Rashi. This is the Rashi in the right column on the 3rd line. The blessings are the same. Rashi says, Kegon zetim v'tapuchim. You have olives and apples in front of you. It's both ha'et. And so what should I do? What should I take first? So Rabbi Yehuda says, Take the zeytin because it's part of the 7 fruits of Israel. And the Hakamim say, do you want apples more? You like apples more? Take the tapuach. It's habib. The habib beats the thing. Yes, Rashi. כגון זיתים ותפוחים ותלוויה ברב יעץ ובא לפתור שלהם ברכה אחת. You only have one ברכה. Okay. So back to the Gemara. שרבי יהודה סבר מן 7 עדיף. The 7 fruits go first. ורבנן סברי מן חביב עדיף. The habib goes first. Rashi. Habib עדיף. איזה שיצא. Take whatever you want. דמתניתין את החביב עליו משמע. So the Ula says the mechloket, the Gemara, the Mishnah could be misleading. The Hachamim say you have to just take whatever you want. Not always do they say take whatever you want. They're only talking about the Rabbi Yehuda argues and says the 7 fruit wins. That's only if it's the same blessings. But if you have different blessings in front of you, it says the Gemara, Aval, nah? Yeah. Yeah, let's see. If they have different blessings, Rashi says, does he give an example? I think he does. No, he doesn't. Okay. If they have 2 different blessings, Yonathan's here. So if you have 2 different fruits in front of you, 2 different foods in front of you, and it's not the same blessing, everyone agrees, take the one that you want, and then take the other one and eat the one that you. Because what's the whole logic behind it, Ezra? The logic is, if it's the same blessing, you only have 1 shot, and then you lose. You can't bless on both the fruits. So which one should get the blessing? The one that Rabbi Yehuda says, the one from Israel. But what's the logic? If they're different things, if they're different items, different foods which require different blessings, everyone's going to get a turn. So if everyone's going to get a turn, pick the one you want first. Nothing's losing out. Yeah. Yeah. That's what he just said. Maga ish, right? Mizonot, gefen, because that's another halakha we're going to get to right now. It's very linked to this. It's linked to this. Rashi, look at Rashi, Yossi. He talks about what he's saying right now. Rashi says about it. If you look at the Rashi on the right column, when the Rashi columns get thin, it's the second thin line. About b'she'en b'chotein shavot divrei hakol. If the berachot are not the same for the different foods, everyone holds just take what you want. Says Rashi. In beracha hat potirtan v'shuv en kamachloket. We're not dealing with a bunch of fruits that have 1 blessing, and so there's no machloket here. Even though we say birech ala pirot ha'elan ure pri ha'adama yatsa, even though we say if you said ha'adama on an apple, you can no longer say ha'etz on the apple. If you said ha'adama on an apple, or you said ha'adama on a grape, or you said ha'adama on a date, it's yotzeh. You cannot say ha'etz anymore. Why? Every et comes from the ha'adama, right? Every et comes from the ha'adama, right, Yariv? Agree or don't agree, right? So as she says, what do you mean? If I have a tapuach on the table, I have a tamar. Let's say I have a date, a tamar on the table, and I have cabbage on the table. Rabbi Yehuda would say I should take each one that I want. How can I say that? Says Rashi. If I said ha'adama on the cabbage, I can no longer say ha'etz on the date. What are you talking about? Says Rashi. If
you're saying that supersedes it.
ha'etz supersedes ha'adama, for sure. Ha'etz supersedes ha'adama. Ha'etz supersedes ha'adama, but once you said ha'adama, it works for the etz. You said ha'adama for the etz, you lost. It works for the ava.
Right.
But really ha'etz does supersede it because it's more elevated physically, but it's also more specific. In other words, the hashibut of the importance of a beracha goes on how specific it is. Shehakol, everything. That's very not specific. That's a little bit. You made things on the ground. Okay, it's a little more refined, but it's still pretty general. You made things on a tree. Oh, now we're like filtering it out into the trees. You made mizonot, grains. Oh my God, how many grains? There's only 5 grains. It's even more. The more specific is the more hashub. Mizonot the Passover, you could, it's 5 grains, right? You could do it. And ha'amotzi lechem on it. So lechem and gefen is only one. So The more specific is more hashuv. But if you mean ha'adama on the cabbage, the question is, can you make the etz on the date? She says, why does the Gemara say Rabbi Yehuda holds? Again, the Gemara says Rabbi Yehuda would agree that if there's ha'adama and ha'etz on the table, even if the etz is tamar, a date, you can take whatever you want, and then hozer. The Gemara says and then make another one on the other one. Doesn't matter, whatever you want. Why? I'm going to lose if I take the cabbage first. I'm going to lose the blessing on the date. Ha'adama covers the date. B'diavad. Says Rashi, a chidush. Rashi says, Hani mili, this halacha only applies that ha'adama covers etz, behad mina, when you're only eating one thing. Beta'a birech aleha bore pri ha'adama. And you made a mistake. I'll explain this in a second. About sinon v'zayit, birech al sinon lo neftar zayit. Rashi says a big chidush here. Rashi says, this halacha that we say, if you said ha'adama, it works for the etz. It works for the etz. Is only if you said ha'adama on the right fruit, which means you want to eat grapes and one fruit. I want to eat grapes and I said ha'adama on it. I made the wrong beracha. It works. But as she says, if I have grapes and I have watermelon and I make ha'adama on the watermelon, that doesn't cover you the grapes. Yeah, but I made ha'adama. But you made ha'adama on the watermelon. You didn't have kavanah to make it on the grapes. It's a very interesting chidush, and it's not halakha ma'aseh. It's not halakha ma'aseh. Halakha ma'aseh is you made a beracha on the watermelon, you cannot make it on the grape anymore. Rashi over here says very big chidush. It only, it might be logical. It only works if you did it, if you at least tried to do it on the right fruit. Interesting shita. We'll get the halakha ma'aseh in a second. And so therefore, the Gemara says over here that if the blessings are different, you have a halakha, it's habib. Whatever you want, go first, because everything will get a turn. Anyway, so if you have mizonot, you have, let's say, a cracker, and you have fish, and you love fish, what's the worst thing that's going to happen if you have the fish first? You're not going to lose the mizonot and the cracker. You make the mizonot next. So it's not a case of losing something. But if I have a wheat cracker, and I have a spelt cracker, and I like the wheat better than the spelt, if I make it on the spelt, I lost it. I can't make it on the wheat anymore. So you have to go for what you like first. And if I have a tamar, if I have a date from Israel, and I have an apple, and I make it on the apple, I can no longer make it on the fruit of Israel. So when you have the berachot or the same, you're losing a chance. Those are the he says.
These are all just preferences, not like halakha, like you have to.
So the poskim are going to argue all about this. I'm going to show you. So the poskim say here, I think there's a Tosafot here I wanted to do. If you look at the old packet, last week's packet, on the second page, which is Lamed Tet, 39a, there's a red box on Tosafot on the left side, on the bottom left, Habib. Habib Adif, Tosafot says, yeah.
I go home and I take apple. Can I make the water?
Yeah, because that's a Hesek Hadat. Remember we said Shinui Makom? That was a whole separate issue of Shinui Makom.
No, I said because I'm going to wash it, do it and wash the shana, okay? All the water.
Yeah.
Okay? And you're going home, you do one more time to water?
If it's only etz, you have to, because Shinui Makom. Even if, remember we said if you go outside, they get the Amazon package.
No, I say, okay, I'm going home, I eat the apple.
It's very schwach. With the mizonot, it might work. With the apple, it's very, very weak. Because it's not a seudah, it's not kovia seudah. If it's a tamar from Israel, it's a mahloket. I don't know if you remember, we did it a while ago. If it's one of the shva'at haminin, some people say that's called hashuv. But in general, I would not. I would not have kavanah to go over there. Just to start all over. Start fresh. Eating on the road, you have da'at that as you're eating, you're doing it. So that's okay. If you're eating M&Ms as you're walking down the street, you already know that you're going to do that. So you don't make a blessing every step you go. But the halakha is, if you're eating a bag of M&Ms and you're walking and eating, you put the M&Ms down, that's already, you're not walking and eating. So it only works as if when you're holding.
What about water? You're on a run.
Yeah, you're holding the water or it's in your backpack. Yeah, but so if you put it down and you have kavanah, I'm still with you. Then you're still with it. But if you put it down and you go do something, you broke the walk. You broke it.
What about every time? Let's say you're on a run. Every time you stop to make shekol.
No, because it's still when you went on the run, you have an activity. I'm doing this whole activity, the whole canyon. Yeah, but if you're walking around eating sesame, you're eating pumpkin seeds. Visit. You're eating visit. You're walking around the house. You have a whole pocket full. You're eating it. You already know you're going to do that. But if you stop and let's say you take the whole pile of visit and you put it on the counter because you put it on the counter and you stopped already. So it all goes by your da'at. It goes in your da'at. I'm not walking around eating visit anymore. I put it all down. And so when I pick it up 2 minutes later, you got to start fresh. Okay. So says Tosafot, Habib Adif. Whatever you like first, that's what the blessing goes on first. This is talking about the Pargiyot guys. He liked the Pargiyot, so he went to Pargiyot first. Tosafot says, V'chen halacha. This is the halacha. Im yesh lo shnei minei perot lefanav. If you have 2 types of fruit in front of you, Habib Adif. Go with the one you enjoy more first. And you should always make the hadama before the shehakol. He's talking about the pargiyot guy. You should have done the cabbage first before the pargiyot. Because it's more of a clarified beracha. It's more specific beracha than shehakol. Everything. The word shehakol, everything is very not specific. The hashuba le'atzma, and it's called a very hashuv beracha. Thanking Hashem for something specific. ויברך על אותו המין ששייך בו פרי האדמה, אף על פי שאותו המין שיש לברך עליו שהכל חביב עליו. Says Tosafot, even if you like the pargiyot better, you like the steak better, steak and vegetables, steamed vegetables, take the vegetable first and then go for the steak. ואם לפניו פירות שהברכות שוות, if you have all the same beracha, so you have the carrots, the potatoes, all the same beracha, and one of them is from the 7 fruits of Israel. You should go for that one first because it's more important. Tu Bishpat, we have to change how everybody does Tu Bishpat. Also on Pesach, Rosh Hashanah. My father-in-law goes crazy. He's listening to this. Tapuach bidmash. Tapuach is that. Eres, Hita, Usora, Tapuach. It doesn't say Tapuach. It's from the Mikubalim because the Mikubalim say we have the garden of apples, the orchard of apples in Shamayim. Okay, but Eres, Hita, Usora, have a tamar over here. The tamar has to go first. I'm sorry. I don't care about the Kabbalah when it comes to raw, cold, hard halakha. We don't go by the Kabbalah over this. We go by the halakha. Dates should go first. Yeah, Liron, what do you do? Rosh Hashanah, what's the first thing you eat? The apples and the honey or the dates? Dates. The Syrian book says apples first. Really? Yeah, Yariv, apples first or dates? What do you do, Ezra? The Syrians say apples first. It's the Kabbalah thing. The Diminish high was into the apples.
I know, but the Iraqis were very close to the Syrians.
What do the Iraqis do? Dates first?
Dates.
He's not. Syrians will never let you in the club. Even if you're a half Syrian, he won't let you.
You want to hear something interesting? There was famine, plague in Iraq. Sometimes it's all the they got 8 rabbis from Aleppo to Iraq.
Wow. From Aleppo to Iraq.
Yeah.
I read that you know the song Yahid El Dagu? Yahid El Dagu Lemire Baba Yebal. You know what? We sing this when a rabbi comes. You know the Ashkenazim. Yami Mayme Melech Daisif. That's their version. We have our own version. Yahid El Dagu Lemire. I read that this was written in Halab when the Benish High visited. That's what I read. Oh, it's true. For the Benish High. Okay, ready? So now we have to see halakha l'maaseh. So we have a couple of questions here. The first question is the original question of the Gemara. We said last week, well, you weren't here. I personally reject the old man Syrian rhetoric in favor of halakha. So I do dates first because it's one of the 7 fruits. And the Chavadia Yosef says to do date first. Ask your cousin, your brother, what he says. I bet you he does dates first. Come back to us, let's. We have 3 questions, I believe. Question number 1. Last week we talked about cooked cabbage, cooked string beans, cooked carrots, cooked beets. Is this really halakha? In other words, if it's something that's usually eaten cooked, when you eat it raw, you're going to make shakol. Does anybody do this? Or like a tomato, we said tomato last week. Tomato is eaten raw most of the times, right? So if you ever cooked sliced tomatoes and you bake them in the oven, you make shakol. Does anybody do this? The question is, how practical is this halakha? Is it literally a practical halakha? And the second,
we just had raw cabbage. Anybody said shakol?
so the only question is, the cabbage. You had cabbage? Oh, so coleslaw is raw cabbage. What's the question? Is you have to say what is the dead? No, shakol, because it's already. You said this last week. No, because you said this last week because you changed the whole surah. Yes, so if you change if you mesh. No, that's even different. Orange juice is a byproduct. It's not the orange itself. The tomato is smashed into ketchup. I think it's a little. Orange juice is even less than ketchup because orange juice is from the orange. It's not even the oranges. Maybe it's the same thing. Maybe it's the same thing. It's liquefied. It's in other words, you put tomatoes,
Ketchup, you add
sugar, tons of sugar. Guys, don't eat ketchup. Ketchup is very bad for you. Yep. You know how much sugar is in ketchup? Sugar, there's crazy sugar. Ketchup is probably more sugar than Coca-Cola. Yeah, look at the back of your ketchup. One squirt of ketchup is like, it's all sugar. Ask my son, we don't ketchup. Only sugar-free ketchup. It's all sugar, it's candy. Okay, guys, that's the first question. Second question is, what's the halakha? Yeah, you can have the cake, but don't have the ketchup with the cake. The second question is what we said. What is the halakha? What is the halakha regarding Habib? What wins? Is your name Habib? No. Oh, Jasmine's husband's name is Habib. Jasmine's husband's name is Habib. Habib is Jasmine. Habib is something dear, like Habib. Why did I think his name was Habib? Haim. And the third question we had was, what was the third question? It was one more. Let's see if I get it. I don't remember. The third question is, what's called, guys, you ready? Here's another question. What's called Habib? What's called Habib? What I usually, I'm going to read you the Rosh. Listen to this. Yeah, but what's called Habib? Listen to this Rosh. It's from, I'm reading the Tur. The Tur is the son of the Rosh. And the Tur says, in the name of his father, Va'adoni avi harosh katav kisevra leshona. Here. I want to find the words for you. Where is it? These are the words of the Rosh. Hayu lefanav minin hadbeh. If you have a lot of different food in front of you. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Zayah. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, im yesh be'em shavat minin, if you have the 7 fruits, you go first. This is halakha from the Rosh. Rosh, not us yet. From the Tur. Rabbi Yehuda holds choose the 7 fruits first. Hachamim omrim, ala ezeh mehem she'yisem v'alech. Take the habib, whatever you like, better make first. Umokmin Allah, and the Gemara establishes that shebechotehen shavot. We're talking about when they have the same blessing, apples and dates, for example. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, kivan shebechotehen shavot ve'ahad niftar b'berakat habero min sheva adif. Since if you make a berakah on the apple, you can no longer bless on the date or the limon or the gefen or the eitz, for example. You can't do it. So therefore, choose the shavat hamini. About if you have pargiyot and olives, Whatever you want first, go first. This is the opinion of the gemara. Says the Rosh, the Tur. Even if one food is more habib, you can bless on the other one first. You love pargiyot, you can make the bracha on the olives. Nothing's losing. The pargiyot will go second. Everything's gonna get a turn because it's all different berachot. Ubismak in the Sefer Smak it says when there are different foods with different blessings. For example, steak and steamed veggies. For example, you must take the habib first, whatever you like better. My father, the Rosh, writes, like the first opinion. The first opinion is you don't have to go by the habib. And it follows that you choose the 7 fruits of Israel. Therefore, if you're served 2 dishes, none of them is from Israel. And they all have the same beracha, lemons and apples. I'll just take what you like better. Listen to the way he says it. If every time one of them is more habib to you, it's a very funny way of saying this. It's very interesting. I think it's a logical thing. I was counting on Ezra for this. The Rosh says, you go by what you usually enjoy more. But I'm not in the mood for a chicken tonight. But you usually are in the mood for chicken. So Habib, the Rosh says, he says straight up, it doesn't matter what you want now. It matters what you usually want. And this is my personal thing, is it a logical thing of gratitude? You should thank Hashem for something that you usually like more, even though right now you want the other thing more? I don't understand really the logic. I was counting on you guys. The Rosh says, he goes by, you usually like the pomegranate, but today I want the apple. You usually like the pomegranate. Go with the pomegranate. What's the logic? Is there a logic? I think the normal understanding of Habib is whatever I want right now. I can change what I want. The Rosh says it goes by the usual. Let's see how the Chalamas. So it says in the Shulchan Aruch on page 4, Dineh kedima beberchat haperot. Hayu lefanav mine perot harbe. If you have a lot. Oh, by the way, Rambam. I want to read you Rambam. Rambam says it's not in the package. Hayu lefanav mine harbe. You have a lot of different food. If they have the same blessing, just take one. Obviously, we all know this. You don't make hayatz on 4 different fruits. If each one is different blessing, then each one gets its own blessing. The Rambam says, whatever you want, which means habib now. Whatever you want. If you have no preference, if you have no preference, then take a 7 fruit. You know what the Rambam is doing? He's putting Habib above the 7 fruits. Habib is above the 7 fruits. He's holding like the Rabbanan. Whatever you like more, but you like the apple more than the tamar, go with the apple. So Rosh Hashanah night, Rambam would say you could do the apples and honey first if you like the apples and honey. Rambam says Habib first. If you have no preference, fine. So in other words, the 7 fruits of Israel is you have no preference, we'll give you a preference. Go with the pasuk. That's the way the Rambam holds this. And has the Rambam, what does he learn for Habib? Right now, whatever you want. He doesn't say anything about what you usually like. That's Rambam. Shulchan Aruch says as follows. Let's see if he's different than the Rambam. You have a lot of fruit. If they're all the same blessing, and there is a fruit of the 7 fruits of Israel, makdim min shiv'ah, then you do that first. Even though you don't really want the fruit from Israel, opposite from the Rambam. Rambam says Habib goes first, and then goes that. Shulchan says Habib goes second. First, you have a fruit from Israel. If you don't have a fruit from Israel, Maktim Habib, then take what you like better. If they don't have the same blessing, let's say there is a from Israel, but they have different blessings. Each one will get its own blessing. You just do whatever you want because each one will get a beracha. We just want to make sure the fruit from Israel gets a blessing. It can be second. You just have to get. That's the idea. A fruit from Israel should have a blessing. If you make ha'adamah first, you're still gonna If you make mizonot first on the rice, you'll still make ha'etz on the fruit from Israel. So you could do that. Just don't do something that's going to cause a fruit from Israel to lose its blessing. And some people say, no. Some people say just go by the Habib always. Who is this? Rambam. Habib. What is called Habib? Says Marash Shulchan Aruch. Hamid shiragil lihiyot Habib alav. The fruit that you usually like. Afili im atah hafes b'min hasheni. Even if now you don't want it. So the Marash Shulchan Aruch is choosing the Rosh's explanation of Habib. Maran likes it. What you usually like. It doesn't go by what you want right now. It goes by what you usually like. Then limon is your thing. You like limon. The field Marash Shulchan Aruch, you should do limon first, according to this pshat. But hold on, it's not finished. Will they have Rambam? So wait. It's going to the edits. No, according to the edits, according to the pasuk. Hold on.
Based on the
It goes about the pasuk. Hold on. Well, they had Ezra. Well, they had Rambam. According to the Rambam, if what you like one fruit, Rambam is very easy to understand. If you like something, take it. בין שרחתותיהם שוות, בין שאינם שוות, בין שיש בהם מן שבעה, בין שאין שם מן שבעה, מתאים החביב לו אז באותה שעה. Rambam is probably, I think, the easiest to remember. Whatever you want now, take it. That's what Rambam holds. No usual, no 7 fruits. Whatever you want now, take it. Fine, take the 7 fruits. Says Marash Shulchan Aruch, הביאו לפניו דבר שברכתו הפרי העץ. You have to do ha'etz before she'akol, she'i hashuba, because it's more important. Okay. Now, there is the order for fruits.
If you're like at a shiva house,
yeah. So, like he said, maga'esh. That's the order if you want to make sure to say the most blessings. Because if you want, you can say mezonot first, and you can still say the bracha on fruit. Mezonot doesn't work on fruit. If you said ha'adama, you lost the ha'etz. Halakha does not follow like Rashi. That if you make ha'adama, shakol has to be less. So if you make ha'adama, you lose the etz. So you want to make sure you do mezonot, gefen, ha'adama, ha'etz, and then ha'adama, and then shakol, and you get to say the most blessings. The question is, if you Ezra, here's the only thing. If you have a lot of different fruits from Israel, like we said a few times, Eretz hitas ora v'gefen u'trav limon. Eretz Hashem u'dbash. The Gemara says whatever one is closer to the word Eretz goes first. So Eretz hitas ora goes first for sure. That's mizonot. V'gefen, that's grape juice. That's third to the pasuk. Ut'ena, a fig, is fourth from the pasuk, and limon is last. Limon is fifth from the pasuk. Eretz zet shemen, olives, is first from the second eretz, and devash temarim is second from eretz. So that's much closer to the word eretz than the word limon. Limon is last in the list. So according to Rambam, if you like limon, take it. Thank you, Mrs. Weck. According to Rambam, if you like limon, take it. But according to Mashal Haruch, it would seem limon should be last, and that's why we do limon last also. It's last in the pasuk. Let's see halakha from Hacham Yitzhak Yosef. This will be our halakha l'maaseh. If you have a lot of fruit, if they have the same blessing, and there is a fruit from Israel, this is halakha l'maaseh, guys. There's a fruit from Israel there. Makdim min shiv'ah. Choose the fruit from Israel, like Marash Shulchan Aruch. There are 7 fruits of Israel, as we all know. And let's skip a little bit. Va'afilu habib alav min peri ahed she'eno mishvat haminim. Even if you really, really want another fruit, like an apple and honey, and you don't want the date so much, yesh le'akdim lebarech al pirot shvat haminim. You choose the fruit from Israel first. This is halakha, very rarely, not like Rambam. Halakha l'maaseh, not like Rambam. It doesn't matter what you want; it matters what's in the pasuk. And so, therefore, according to Chama on Rosh Hashanah night, you should do the tamarim first, the date first. Kol din kedima she'amru eno ela keshrehem munachim lefanav. This whole halakha is only talking about when the food is actually in front of you, and you plan on eating both of them. If they serve you steak and they say, "Hold on, we're bringing the olives," and you don't have to wait. You can make the shakol on the steak first because the olives are not here. Yes. Yes, it's not the same mean, so it's okay. Next one. Birchat purei pri ha'etz or purei pri ha'adama kodemet lebirchat she'akol niya bevaro. She'akol is left on the list. Ha'et and adama is above it. Why? And pnei shehem berachot mevurarot. This is what Tosafot said. Because there's specific blessings. Yoter birchat she'akol, more than just she'akol niya bevaro. She birchat kolelet. If you made shakol first, you still make a beracha on the fruit. You don't just say, "Oh, I said shakol." No, shakol was fine on the drink. You still make a etz and adama. That's almost like Rashi. If you pick up an etz and you say she'akol, it works because you're planning it, like Rashi said, on the fruit. But if you made she'akol on the steak, you made she'akol on the steak, you weren't thinking about the fruit, so you still make an etz on the fruit. Okay. V'chen im hektim uberech borei pri adama al pri adama. If you said on the watermelon ha'adama, v'lefanav gam pri ha'etz, and there's grapes in front of you. לא נפתר פרי העץ בברכת פרי האדמה. הואיל ולא נתכוון בפירוש לפטרו, אבל אם נתכוון לפטרו יצא. I said before, halakha is not like Rashi. I was wrong. Halakha is like Rashi. Rashi says, the only time we say that borei pri adama, poter is the etz, is if you have kavanah on the etz. But he says over here, if you had the adama, and you didn't have kavanah on the etz, it's not poter. So
you made a mistake.
No, if you made a mistake, don't do it again. Then it works. But if it's not a mistake, it's not a mistake. Now, let's do another halakha here. This is Shulchan Aruch. Al hayerakot barech borei pri adama va'afilu. Okay, now the first question we had was, guys, ready? What was the blessing on cooked broccoli? Ready, Liron and Yariv? We're talking now about the first question: cooked broccoli, cooked carrots, raw tomatoes. Let's do this one. Al hayerakot mebarech borei pri adama. Vegetables we know as ha'adama. Va'afilu bashelam. Even if you cook them, they're still ha'adama. V'chen kol perot v'kitniot shetovim hayim u'mevushalim mevarech alehem le'ahad b'shulam kibirchatam ha'ro'eh lahem kodem shebishel. If they're edible and delicious both ways, raw or cooked, they get the beracha raw or cooked. Abal, kira, besilka, beets, and leek. The charub. Charub is cabbage, yeah? No, charub is carob. No, what's charub? Cabbage. The chayotzeh bahim. And other fruits like this. Shetovim mebushalim, which are more delicious cooked. Yoter mihayim, better than raw. First of all, do you agree with these things? Beets, there's no question. Beets, you can't eat raw. Cabbage, he's saying coleslaw, which is a good one. Hold that for a second. And what was the other one? Leek. Leek, no, it's raw leek. Idjes is fried. Idjes, delicious. Love idjes.
Leek is exactly like an onion.
But most, it's better cooked or fried.
You can chop it up.
Do people eat leek raw?
No,
Kishem Hayim. You have ijeh. You know ijeh? It's like fried. How do you explain what ijeh is?
If you were going to make something like a salsa, you could throw some.
Okay, but what's better? What's better? What's better? Raw leek?
Salsa definitely raw.
No, in general, you can't pick one food. You have to look at the leek and say, in general, what's better? Cooked leek or raw leek? That's the question. Cooked leek. Then, Keshem Hayim. If you eat the raw leek, you make shiako. So you take a beet and you eat it raw, shiako. Now, cabbage, we have to talk about. Potato, shiako. Yeah, can you? I don't know if it's edible.
You can. You can.
Is it going to hurt you?
Eat a whole one is cold.
I don't know. If it's going to hurt you, it might not get a blessing. I don't know. It depends if it's going to hurt you or it's just not the dinner. Okay. Well, the ahad bishulam, after you cook the beet, then you make hadama because it was intended to be cooked. Potato chips will maybe next week because because you're changing the surah. No, Ezra. Then we have to do later. Potato chips. Let's just give it a little bit of life and we'll move on. Yeah, Pringles is pure factory garbage. But let's talk about potato chips for 1 second. But I don't want to do it this week. I want to do it another week. But if it's most potato chips, the garbage potato chips are out there in the snack aisle are smashed to smithereens. Potatoes, and then they just flatten them in the shape of they're not real potatoes. But if you take so that already loses the form. But if you have actual slices of potato wedges, like high quality potato chips, maybe it's adama. It probably is adama. Lay's is garbage. Lay's is literally processed and smashed. I'm very into foods like this. I don't like garbage food. Lay's is pure trash. It's all processed, highly processed. They smash it. Bobby, when you pick up a Lay's chip, it could be from 50,000 potatoes. You're lucky if it's from a potato. It's not even potatoes anymore.
Like hash browns.
It's actually potatoes, but it's still a potato.
Chop it up.
Yeah, it's still chopped. So we'll have to get this to another time. Belina did. We'll do this another week. Let's move. The shumim, the karti, shumim and karti, Hashem hayim, orech periha adama, Hashem the bishulim shehako. Okay. Says the Rama, the mehashebi nishtanu legreota. The whole question is, does the cooking process diminish the food or improve the food? That's the question. So Maran Shulchan says, yeah, Bob's going to fail at that. Maran Shulchan says that if you have a food, let's take beets, you take a beet and you bite it shako. You have an opposite food. Let's take, for example, is there a food we can all agree on that is eaten raw, generally speaking? A vegetable is eaten raw? A carrot, I think most people eat carrot raw. So a cucumber raw is a good one. That's a good one. That's a great example. Great example, cucumber. What percentage of cucumbers that are grown are eaten cooked?
I can't think of it.
So if you take a cucumber and you bake it in the oven or you boil it, it's going to become shako because it's not already a cucumber. Yeah. There's one food that I was thinking of the whole week. Did I tell you at the end of last week? And no one mentioned this food. That's literally the only food that I'm thinking about. And that food is broccoli. Broccoli. What percentage of broccoli and cauliflower is eaten raw?
Probably a big percentage.
Oh, come on.
Because if you get a crudité, like a plate of vegetables, it always has raw.
What percentage of the population eat a crudité?
I think a lot.
Oh, come on.
I think a lot. A lot of people have with ranch dressing.
Ezra,
Yeah, you get it.
Give me a percentage.
Broccoli?
Broccoli.
They
Look
have
at
it
all
in
the houses in
But
America.
they have it in those little plates. And you get broccoli.
I know, but for every plate of raw broccoli, I bet you there's 100 cooked broccoli vegetables. Who eats? Come on, most people eat cooked broccoli.
What's the?
So I was at someone's house 3 weeks ago, and he serves in front of me a raw broccoli salad with like Italian dressing. It's like crunchy. There was no cranberries. Maybe I would have liked it better. That's Yaakov. It's Yaakov. Because I don't think anyone eats. Very few people.
It's that different than coleslaw.
Coleslaw.
I think raw broccoli.
I don't know if it's as common as you think, Ezra. Who's eating? It's crunchy and it's. I honestly, could you Google this? What percentage of broccoli is eaten raw? I would bet you 95% of the broccoli in America is eaten cooked. Come on. Come on. Who's eating? When's the last time anyone in this room had raw broccoli? Raise your hand. Has anyone in the past month? In the past month, one guy raised his hand. Hold on. I know. What's the derech? What's the derech? Has anyone in this room eaten cooked broccoli in the past month? In the oven, cooked broccoli. Raw broccoli?
Eating raw or cooked broccoli is healthiest when eaten raw.
Congratulations. Yes. Congratulations.
Broccoli is commonly eaten both raw and cooked.
So,
depending on preference.
So Hacham David just said in his sentence,
The average American consumes 5.2 pounds of fresh broccoli a year.
Wow.
How cooked broccoli or raw?
This is fresh.
You have a cooked stack?
Doesn't say.
Come on.
Wow.
They're not watching them when they take it home. They're just selling it.
Hacham David Yosef says in his sefer, Yirakot shehem tovim le'achila ben keshem hayim or ben keshem mevushalim. You have a food, a vegetable that's good either way. A carrot's a great example. Delicious either way. V'derech bnei adam le'ochlam ben keshem mevushalim or ben keshem hayim. You go either way with a carrot. Even a tomato, I would say, maybe is the same thing. Delicious both ways. Either way. Because it's delicious and it's the derech both ways to eat it. V'im hem tovim la'achila, not healthy, if they're more tasty for eating. Keshem hayim, when they're raw. Im achlam keshem hayim, because they're good that way. You know, stand for me for cooked broccoli. You gotta message Pete Buttigieg. V'im achlam. Isn't he that? Oh no, sorry, I got the wrong guy. Who's the agriculture guy? No, he's transportation. You're right. Because the bridge that fell was on his head. V'im achlam keshem mevushalim, mevarech she'akol. V'im hayot tovim la'achila. If something is good to eat, רק כשהם מבושלים, like a beef. Only when it's cooked. אם achlam keshem hayim, if you took it raw, it's she'akol ni'avaro. Says Hacham David. Huh? Pickle good. Very good. Look over here. Kafa hayim. ירקות שהם ראויים לאכילה, בין חיים ובין מבושלים. Something that's eaten both ways. אלא שהם טובים יותר לאכילה כשהם חיים, but they're better raw. ומחמת כן, דרך רוב בני האדם לאוכלם כשהם חיים. Most people eat it raw. If you eat it raw, it's האדמה. If you eat it מבושלים cooked, it's she'akol. And so to the opposite. If most people eat it cooked, it's האדמה. If minority of people eat it raw. So very good. So let's see. If they're delicious both ways. The cooking doesn't ruin the food, doesn't diminish it. In the eyes of people, they are good either way. Both ways. Now, many times, the way that people eat a certain vegetable, it changes from place to place, from region to region, and from period of time to period of time. Our eating habits are different across the world and across times. Yes, ירקות שבמקומות מסוימים ובזמנים מסוימים רגילים לאוכלם כשהם מבושלים. There are some vegetables that in certain areas of the world and in certain periods of time they cook it. ובמקומות אחרים in other countries ובזמנים אחרים in periods of time לשני הדבר is different and they eat it raw. וכן להפך. ובכל דבר in this whole situation יש ללכת אחר רוב דרך רוב בני אדם. Go by most people באותו מקום ובאותו זמן, in your area and in your time. So what they do in Israel doesn't matter. You're living in America. And so it goes by what they do in America.
You don't eat raw.
Raw onions, who eats raw onions? Even if I eat, the only time I eat a raw onion is in a burger, which I get a belach on the burger. It's a belach on the burger.
Right, if you go to Persian restaurant, or if you go to Israel and you get a hummus food, there's a piece of onion right next to it that you put on.
And you eat it with the bread or just stop?
No,
I like it.
But you wouldn't eat a raw leaf.
you get it in the restaurant, just like that.
Here in this community, you have to go by this community. In this place that we live in,
Israeli.
maybe. Okay. It says, I want to show you. Vav. Okay. And he says over here, where is it? Hang on. There. Pickles. I'm looking for. So the pickles in the Kaf Haim is pickles, but I have it over here. I'm going to read it from Cham David. If it's the derech to eat is salted or pickled, which is olives, you can't eat raw olives, right? Salted, that is dangerous. Not edible. Can't eat it. Pickled or salted, cucumbers. I think it might be people eat more pickles than cucumbers. I don't know. Or maybe even something like and it's something that's not eaten pickled. So beets will be the same thing. A pickled beet. When it's pickled. So pickle is the same thing as cooked. So pickles is still ha'adama because it's still the derech of people to eat cucumbers pickled, right? And so pickle, pickling is a form of cooking in a way. Yeah, but in the halakha, it's almost like
Like if I look up in an app, what I'm gonna make on. I mean,
I think it's on cucumbers.
No, pudding.
On pudding.
Yeah, liftan.
What's it made out of?
Yeah.
It's like canned apricots.
Canned apricots.
You know, with the syrup and the apricots.
Fruit cups? Don't buy the one with the syrup. The syrup is all sugar and high fructose. The syrup is all high fructose. It's garbage. Only buy the ones in its own juice. Number one. But I got kill your body, man. No, it's even Ezra's with me. No, it's Hadam. It's high. Yeah, high. Don't buy the sugar, I told you. No, it's dangerous for you.
Make your own fruit salad.
Fruit cups and it's syrup.
Make your own fruit salad.
Okay.
Yes, if you grow your own fruit.
Yeah, I have.
Now he says over here in the back, I saw it. And olives, you cannot eat olives raw. Olives you cannot eat raw. So a raw olive would be shackle. Raw, if you do it, good luck to you, it's shackle. You can't eat it. There's like chemicals in there that are like horrible. Olives that are salted, which every olive is etz, because that's the derech of Bnei Adam. So olive is etz. If you can find someone that eats raw olives, I mean, good luck to them. It's not going to be an etz. Okay, says Hacham David. Okay, you ready?
It's like an olive spread. And you put it on bread.
The olive spread is a good question. It's made from real olives. Yeah, I know. By the way, very salty, those things. A lot of salt. They load it with sodium. It's bad for your blood pressure. I want to save that. We're a health nuts. I want to save that for the potato chip. Let's do that next week. Hazara, olive is it. Olive is it. No, raw olive is not it because you can't eat it raw. It's like a potato. No, because they're eating it. Shalokidevko. Nobody eats raw olives. Nobody. Huh? Shakol or no beracha. One of the two things. Yeah, but olives is the easiest question because the whole world, no one eats raw olives. You can't. It's dangerous. It's bad for you. It might be no beracha. Okay, says Acham David here. Let's clarify. Ezra, we're gonna go to the health class. Verov ben Adam says Acham David. Majority of people in Yanzeh, Hainu Rov bene Adam shebeoto makom. So go by your village. Bim ta'amam tov. Okay.
That's interesting. That how will change from place to place.
Yeah. It goes by the place you are.
It's usually pretty uniform. Like
And so I saw over here. He says.
It's probably one of the only times where the bracha you make on something changes by where you are.
Yeah. So now, guys, let's do this. You ready? Let's drop a few vegetables. 5 more minutes. Let's do this. Let's figure it out. Carrots, we all agree, in this place we live in, we eat both ways. Cucumbers, broccoli.
I don't know. I think if you cook a cucumber.
No, but salt. Cooked cucumber, maybe no. He's right.
A cooked in like with every other thing.
Actual cooked, no. That would be shakol. But pickled and broccoli. It seems we have an argument on broccoli. I really don't think it's the dead of most people. Then it will be hadama both ways. Tomatoes, hadama both ways. Cabbage. Coleslaw is very popular. Yeah, coleslaw is very popular. So, what percentage of people eat cooked cabbage? Cooked cabbage. Cooked cabbage?
Probably very few nowadays.
Stuffed, very few.
Are you eating cabbage?
I would tell you. I would say that stuffed cabbage is shakol. I would say cooked cabbage is shakol. How many people eat cooked cabbage these days? I would say that's shakol.
You know what's good actually? If you take cabbage, slice it, and you brush it with olive oil and grill it. And then that's interesting. Very good.
I was thinking about grape leaves. When they make yabra, I love the leaves of the grape leaves. You don't need a raw.
No, grape leaves are.
Here's another question for you, guys. Right. So grape leaves are brine. That's the dead. That's how you eat it. Right. What about mahshi? Kusa? I think.
You're eating it with the rice.
But let's say you got a piece with no rice, just the outside piece, the mahshi. I think it's the derech. Squash. Wait, do people eat raw squash?
You have one that's got rice and one that's got meat.
What is
But the one that has meat also has rice, no?
But you said you have
Hashu. I think it all mizrot from the hashu, from the rice. That's what I do.
But let me ask you a question. So you have a message, let's say you have the bell pepper or you have whatever.
Yeah.
Should you take the pieces that are made of the mouth and then take the piece and have?
No, it's one food. But that's why my example was I have a mahshi.
Why is it one food?
Because anytime you have one food, huh? Tomato mahshi.
Yeah.
Uh,
What we say?
But
Yeah.
tomato mahshi, I think tomato goes both ways. Anyway, on the mahshi, because there's rice inside, I would make mizanot on the whole piece. But hold on, now you just made me think about peppers. I love, my wife makes for Shabbat, it's my favorite, little mini sweet peppers roasted. I love it. Yeah, I think it's both also, right? Can we think of something that you only eat raw and not cooked? Cabbage, besides for cabbage?
These are very good to have, bro, but they don't generally.
Okay, guys, we have the halakha l'maaseh.
All right, guys, back to us.
Let me just make sure there's nothing else here. And then Beli Neder, we will do a potato chip, popcorn, bamba, melafifon. What? Let's just read 4 more things from Echam Yitzhak Yosef and wrap it up. Rabotai, we're finishing over here. Al Yirakot shederech achilatam ben keshem hayim oben mevushalim. Something says a chamitak. What does a chamitak say? Is food that goes both ways, cooked and raw. Gezer, kadpas, pilpil, hasa.
Lettuce.
Who eats cooked lettuce?
Nobody.
Cooked lettuce? In Israel they do that? Ugh. Nah, when it gets soggy, you take it out. I don't know what he's talking about. Hasa. Then it's going to be.
This is why you go by
You go by
your.
the derech. If you serve me cooked hasa, I'm making shakol. If I eat it, all things like this, if it goes by the derech hamakom. Now, mahshi, you ready, guys? 2 minutes, guys. Im bishilam im basar mahshi. If you cook it with stuffed cabbage, you make it with meat. Or mahamata basar nishtabah, and now it tastes delicious because the meat that's with it. Ta'amam yoter me'ashel hayim. Cabbage tastes great when it's with the meat. Then you make it wherever adama. Kivan shilo batla hashibutam b'fnei atzmam ve'enam batilin gabi basar. Very interesting. You have to look into that. Hu adin le'pirot ha'etz. All these halachot apply to the fruit as well. If there's a fruit that you eat cooked, so we have to think about this now. Baked apples are very delicious when they caramelize and they become very, very sweet, like for an apple pie. Don't use the cans for the apple pie. I think there's like 128 grams of sugar in a can of apple pie mix. Or Thanksgiving. My mother-in-law was making Thanksgiving. She had a can of, my kid brought home the can of cranberries. I think it was over 100 grams of sugar. I threw it straight in the garbage. I threw it in the garbage. Save dessert for dessert. Don't make dessert dinner. But if you have a fruit that's good raw, and it tastes better raw than it tastes in boiled, for example, pears or peaches or any of these things. Why would you cook those things? I don't think. Well, fruit, we're on fruit now. If you do cook it, it's going to be shako because you ruin the fruit. If you saute them, I guess, in sugar. Is that a thing? They take bananas and sugar and overheat? Overheat? Oh, really? Is there another fruit they do this with heat?
Yeah, apples.
Apples for apple pies?
Yeah, cherries, they do it too.
And it becomes delicious, then it stays ha'etz because it's still delicious. Interesting halakha. 2 more. And he writes in parentheses, kumput. What's kumput? Fruit salad. The cooked. Oh, the cooked. It's cooked. It's boiled.
Yeah.
Boiled.
That's like Ashkenaz, no?
No, Israeli. Very Israeli.
French.
If you eat the fruit, and you can see exactly they're not smashed up. They're whole fruit. You make the beracha on the perot because I guess it's delicious. About if you drink the juice, it's gonna be she'akol. Last one. Vegetables that are better cooked than raw, beets, for example, maybe leek. And you decide to eat it raw. If you mean adama, it's okay, but it's all right. And so too, vice versa. if you meet the Hadamah, don't go again and say, oh, I learned in the class to make shakol, and I make another blessing shakol. You already did it. Only one beracha. Baruch Adonai Le'olam Amen Amen. Rabbi Hanan Omer, Rasa Kadosh Baruch Hu L'zachot Eretz Yisrael Ficha Tefra L'Chol Ne'amar Adonai Haves Lemar Sikol Yadil Torah Ve'Yadim. No, I don't worship Jesus in the chat.